name is Ron Belzil. I'm the owner of Trailer Canada. We incorporated Trailer Canada as a Canadian corporation, and our dream is to sell franchises someday. It was limited to being a local, sort of regional business. We were relying on the sort of the immediate, population to support the business. The town itself is around 6,000 people. The trading area around St. Paul would be probably around 30 to 40,000 people. The trailer industry was very young, so for a number of years we could hardly keep up supplying trailers. Prior to that, you would find welders would build the odd trailer, and it really wasn't that popular. And then once these companies started building them, mass producing them, and then of course in Alberta with the oil industry and agriculture, all sectors of the economy, everybody can use trailers. Individuals, governments use trailers, companies. So we sold a lot of trailers for a lot of years, and then I wanted to get into parts, trailer parts, and I thought that would be a very good business, because everybody has to service the trailers. They wear out and you need parts. Because it's a small town, it's quite a small market, and if you wanted to develop your business and have your business on a higher level or a bigger level, a bigger business, we needed to reach out, make more customers. I thought it would be a good idea to get involved on the internet and to be able to advertise our wares, far and away. And so that's what we did. And when we built the first website, actually, TELUS actually helped us build the first website. The whole concept of it was very new, having to transpose your business into a digital format. So you're marketing certain things more to the local business. Maybe some of your things might be going more in a regional, and then there's your worldwide business. It was a real, it was a real learning experience. And so it was a good introduction into the world of digitalization. So I found that I was studying a lot about computers, file formats and all these programs, and it was a mean learning curve. And it continues to be a learning curve because technology is changing so fast, so rapidly. And it's changing at a faster rate than even back then. It's interesting, but I find that it does require a lot of effort to keep up to it. It wasn't financially that big of a commitment with the first website. It was just a static website. It was more of a psychological commitment, to get used to the idea and to have to transpose everything into digital. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, and people minimize that all the time, and it is a lot of work to do it right, to do it, to do a good job of it. You need to, employ a lot of marketing strategies and techniques, and there's a lot of graphic design involved and stuff like that. So you really have to educate yourself on a lot of different areas in order for it to be to look professional on the other side. We do have a programmer that's available, and then of course we have Pia who can do just about everything. Because we got into the technology, now I have a full-time graphic designer, which I need, and so that's an extra person we wouldn't have hired say 20 years ago or whatever. There would have been no need for that person, and we wouldn't be here right now. We had to continue learning about the new technologies. We continued to make improvements, technically speaking, getting into different program languages, making the website more interactive. We had interactive forms, and we went through all of these things. I can hardly remember some of the terminology. It's been so long ago, but we went through step by step, always learning about different language, what they can do, file formats. It's quite encompassing, altogether. It takes, different skills. And that's one thing that people need to know right off the bat when they're getting into this technology, is that you're not going to find one person that can actually do everything. People have different skill levels and different backgrounds, and it's important that people know that they might need some help from somebody else to achieve whatever they're going to achieve. Unless it's a very simple information-only couple-page website, then a lot of people can do that. It just depends on how sophisticated you're getting with that. The second website was quite a bit larger in terms of numbers of parts and trailers, and a little more complex, a little more information. I think one of the key things that I always wanted to do is provide value for the consumer. The person should get something out of your website. They should have information that's useful to them. I wrote a lot of the stuff for the website, tips and stuff like that from my experience, recommendations and tips. And I think that really added a lot of value to the website, because people don't know all that stuff. So there's a lot that goes into it, that in the background you're trying to create value and try and make people remember you. We have a program that records all our statistics from going back to, I think, 2003. The report that shows, our traffic over the years, how it rose up, and then it began to decline when our second website was starting to get to the end of its useful life, and things were changing, and then it started to decline, and now it's going up quite fast because of the new website, all the new features that we have. It's interesting to follow the statistics. You get a lot of information from that, and it kind of helps to guide us, because with the analysis, it shows you what pages are really popular on your website. And that's really interesting, because that's giving you a very good idea of what people are looking for. So I can go in there and pick out somebody from Etobicoke, Ontario, and I can go in there and I can find out how much time they spent on each page, what they're looking for, and everything. And so it's such a great technology. And so if you compare it to the other mediums, the other media, I don't think there's any comparison. Soon after we published the website, a few months after we published a new website, we got a call from Seattle. Their head office for Amazon's in Seattle, and a lady there was very interested in us getting on with Amazon. So we think there's obviously a lot of potential. They have millions of customers, and the interesting part is that they help you in different ways than normal marketing. For example, you can say you want to launch a product. You go into Amazon and you can see what the competition is, and so that's fantastic when you know what others are marketing that product for, how much they're marketing that product for. You can see if you're competitive. If you can't be competitive in that particular item, then you stay away from it. Marketing is kind of like the same in every way, right? You can market in a small town, you can market on a worldwide level, or you can market on Amazon, but it's all the same thing. Because we embraced the technology and we jumped into it, we're still here in a small town, but a lot of the parts and the accessories that we sell never come here. We get our parts from distributors who are much bigger companies than us, and they are accessing the parts from China, Malaysia, India, all over the world, and America. And so the parts are coming from everywhere in the world. The sale of items, especially if you're doing sort of an internet business, the ability to get that product to the consumer as cheap as possible is really the determining factor to make the sale. And if the freight is too high, then people will might look elsewhere. But I think it's the ease of communication and stuff that's really changed the world. And transportation and communication, and if you look at it technically, the internet, websites, internet communication, these are all very excellent tools because you have instant communication, you have the ability to do so much in a business. We are able to basically do business right across the country, whereas at one time we couldn't do that. We just couldn't do that. The internet, I believe, is the reason we were still in St. Paul, is because we were able to reach out and make enough sales, and it's opened up the world for us. Probably the best advice I would say is to have an open mind and try and think about it positively. I think that's the best advice I would give them, because what else can you say? You know, it is a lot of work, and you know, you have to be prepared to do the work for sure. If you're not prepared to do the work, don't even start, because it is a lot of work. But then there's a lot of reward for it. But what can you do in life where you get a reward for no work? So it's not different. It's not any different than doing anything else. You might have to pay attention. You might have to do some work to learn. But that's my best advice on it. Just be positive. And the future is going to look very different in 5-10 years than what it looks like today. Our job is to sort of understand that and trying to meet the challenges.